Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be offsetting our die cut cover plates to give a highlighted look to our card, and this adds a beautiful dramatic effect when we combine it with ink blending. I'm going to start off my card by doing some ink blending. I am going to be working on a silicone media mat just to hold my cardstock in place while I do my ink blending, and I will be using all distress oxides here. This is white cardstock in 80 pound, which is my preferred cardstock for ink blending, and I'm starting at the very bottom with Tattered Rose. This is a really light pink. I do end up changing my mind, but for now I just have it towards the bottom. Then I'm bringing in dried marigold, adding that right on top, and then I flip my cardstock and starting at the top there, I'm bringing in blueprint sketch all the way to that dried marigold, and I'm going to top it off with chipped sapphire. My chipped sapphire is very over inked, but it actually makes great ink blending. Now I'm going to go back through all of those same colors to help smooth out that transition. This is kind of a very almost odd color combination, but I really love how it all turned out. So I went back over that dried marigold, and always remember, the more ink and the more times we go over it, the better that transition is going to be. So now I decided to brighten up that pink, and I'm bringing in worn lipstick, and I like that a lot better. So after this is all blended, I'm going to set it off on the side for just a moment, and I'm going to work on my die cutting. Now this is the Secret Garden A2 cover plate die from Honeybee Stamps. I'm starting off by die cutting it from a piece of black cardstock and also from this matte gold. Now I will be layering them together and offsetting it, so I'm going to trim off the very outer edges on that piece that I cut from that matte gold cardstock. That way that's not sticking out from the edge of my card. So as I bring these two together, you can see how gorgeous this is already starting to look. So I'm going to go ahead and just get all of these glued together. I did also cut another piece from 80 pound cardstock, or you could also use 100 or 110 pound cardstock. This is just to add a little bit of dimension to my background. And then I'm just taking some liquid glue, adding little dots of that all around those pieces, and then adding the gold cardstock on top of the white. The black is going to be our final piece. So I added all that liquid glue behind it, and when I go to add this on top of the gold, I just want to shift it over ever so slightly so that you can see that highlight of that gold behind there. Now I'm going to go back to my blended background, and I'm going to add some splatters just for some added interest. I have some water spritzed off on my surface there that I'm just picking up with this small paintbrush. And then I'm also going to bring in some perfect pearls. This is just to add a little bit of shimmer. Now my spots are very small because I'm using a small paintbrush. If you wanted to have bigger water spots on your background, you would just need to pick a bigger brush. Then I can go ahead and add that liquid glue to the back of my cover piece and add it to my ink blended background. Now, what I like to do when I have something like this where there's a lot of areas that have glue on it is I'm going to take some heavy acrylic blocks. I have 2 of them that I pretty much only use to put on top of my pieces. So I'm going to leave that there and let that sit for a little bit. Then I'm going to move over and work on a sentiment. So I have another piece of 80 pound white cardstock, and this time I am using a sentiment from the Thinking of You Big Time. I've really been wanting to use this set, and now that I have the coordinating die that I just picked up, I'm going to ink it up with the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink, and I'm going to stamp it twice just to make sure that it is a really nice solid black. So then I can take that coordinating die, hold it down with a low tack tape, and die cut out my sentiment. I also die cut it out about 3 more times to layer it together and add dimension to the center of the card. You could also just add little pieces of foam squares if you prefer. So this is another case where I will take my big blocks and set it on top of that just to make sure it is stuck to my background really well. Then I came back in and added the tittle to my eye because that die cuts separately and we don't want to lose that. And then I'm also going to bring in some of these pearl stickers. There's a few options available over at Honeybee Stamps, and you could also have used one of the pearls to dot the eye if you really want to. Sometimes I lose my tittles, which is the top of the eye, so I will replace it with a pearl or a gem, and that's mainly because I lost it. So that's going to finish up my card project for today. I really loved doing this technique where you're just kind of offsetting that die cut a little bit to give kind of that highlight area. And then of course, adding some dramatic ink blending to really offset that black. All of the supplies used today will be listed down below in the video description.